Assalamu alaikum everyone. First of all, a big thank you to Ali Fahad and all that he does for Pakistan constantly. And this is another great initiative that he's taken. And I'm so happy to see over 50 people on this call at a late Sunday night or an early Sunday morning, depending on where you are. We have three guests today who I'll be moderating for. Ms. Romina Alam is a little delayed, so I'll wait for her to introduce her. But I'll introduce the other two panelists in the meantime. We have Ms. Aisha Moriani, who is the Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Climate Change and Environmental Coordination. Historically, she's been a trailblazer as a career bureaucrat. She's been at the World Trade Organization for Pakistan as the economic counselor there. Most recently, she was at the Ministry of Information Technology, and we've seen the fruits of her hard labor there. And before that, she was at the Ministry of Commerce working on the e-commerce policy. So I think wherever she goes, there's positive change. So I'm really hoping that that happens at MOCC as well, inshallah. And Arif Saab is essentially the lead principal scientist and agronomist for GCISC. मैंने बहुत दफा इसको याद किया बोलने के लिए क्योंकि मुझे था कि मैं skip कर जाऊंगा. It is essentially the research arm for the Ministry of Climate Change. They're the people who think for the ministry, and then we have the bureaucrats and the ministers who come back and enact that policy. Arif Saab works on smart agricultural practices as his bread and butter. And most interestingly, something that I will talk to him about in this panel is going to be what he's doing for the new carbon framework for the country. So without further ado, I think with everyone, Ali, your and Madam Aisha and Arif Saab's permission, I'll start the questions. Just to kind of give you a roundup of how I try to run sessions, I'll try to kind of close the conversation between the four of us when Ms. Romina joins within 45 minutes. And I'd want the audience, we have 58 people now, it's phenomenal. So I'd want them to be able to ask questions, relevant questions. So I'll give them 10-15 minutes at the end. And in the 45 minutes that I will engage you guys, I will try to keep the conversation flowing. So even the order of questions that I've enacted is kind of कि वो एक बंदे से अगले में automatically feed in करता है आपकी expertise के हिसाब से. So let's try to make it a conversation and not a monologue. I think I'll start with Ms. Aisha in Ms. Romina's absence. So I think, ma'am, I'm from the private sector. I'm someone who is very frustrated with the lack of private capital deployed in climate change in Pakistan in general. So given your past experience as well within trade and e-commerce, how do you think this hub will really open up the international marketplaces for Pakistani startups and in general for investment in green technologies in our country?
Ji, thank you very much, first of all, Fahad, for organizing this and for the moderator to ask this question. The very objective of initiating, this Green Tech Hub is to provide opportunities for partnerships and create linkages. In this COP29 theme is climate finance. So before going to the COP, it's extremely important that we organize ourselves, especially the private sector, because government is already engaged in these efforts, and we have been trying to access GCF funds and JEF funds, but the procedures are very cumbersome. And one of the themes that we are taking to COP29 is to ease the access to finance. But while we are working through those forums and, we are interacting with development partners like UN agencies, it's extremely important that we galvanize our private sector, especially the green tech community, and we position ourselves for the entrepreneurial opportunities coming because of this green transformation, not just in Pakistan, but across the world. So the very objective of this initiative is to prepare ourselves for whether it's, EU demand for carbon border adjustments, or there is a demand for energy transition, transport transition, or, introducing tech in agriculture. All of this require ability to, quickly provide solutions in your own country and be able to harness the opportunities globally. So we have to position ourselves for this transition. And that's the very objective of this hub. And my experience in the previous ministries really motivated me to work in this direction. And hopefully my experience in the WTO on trade issues and IT sector would be helpful in enabling the private sector.
Thank you, ma'am. It's great to hear, and I think you're headed in the right direction. I've been engaging with the ministry for years and asking them to do exactly what you're doing. So, inshallah, it'll bear fruit. Arif साहब, I think थोड़ा सा क्योंकि आपका एक एक्सपर्टीज है और इस वक्त बहुत हॉट टॉपिक है पाकिस्तान में द कार्बन फ्रेमवर्क एंड द एनेबलमेंट एंड I'll keep the COP questions for the end because they're very specific to my mind. I want to kind of understand because I'm not sure how ये कार्बन वाले चीजें बहुत टेक्निकल होती हैं, जनरली ऑडियंस एट लार्ज को नहीं पता होता. तो मैडम ने CBAM मेंशन किया जो क्रॉस बॉर्डर एडजस्टमेंट मैकेनिज्म है. सो आई वांट टू ask from you, how do you see that space unfolding in Pakistan? CBAM as a risk, and then the carbon credits as a potential leapfrogger for Pakistan? And how do you see all of that linking up with the Green Tech Hub and the policy that you guys are kind of trying to make together?
Thank you very much to Alif Fahad and especially to Mekaeel for providing me this opportunity to speak on this forum. You have picked a very, burning question of today. Carbon markets in Pakistan is a new phenomena. We have not advanced much on these things, but we have been facing the challenges of GSP on our textile sector, and now we are confronting with the issues of the CBAM, as Madam Secretary has truly highlighted. So how long we will be able to bear the brunt of such, you can say, challenges or such sort of difficulties? So we need to face it very boldly. We need to bring the policies, and carbon market policy guidelines is a framework that we have just devised, and it is on the way to approval. Based on that, carbon registry is going to be housed in GCISC, where we will be try to channelize the private sector, the government sector, and the intermediaries to provide an interface how to get along with this new challenge. I don't think it is a challenge, rather it is an opportunity for us. We are a bit late, but our carbon market policy guidelines is open for all sectors that are enshrined in our nationally determined contributions, like energy sector, transport sector, industrial sector, waste to energy, forestry sector, as well as there is huge potential for agriculture sector too in Pakistan. We need to harness these challenges. As far as the role of the Green Technology Hub is there, I think carbon markets being a new phenomenon in Pakistan, Green Tech Hub holds a pivotal position in my opinion. It can generate knowledge, it can interface the government's policies with the private sector, it can showcase some of the case studies that Pakistan has done so far. At COP, we are also trying to take different carbon creditable projects where we will showcase these projects over there and invite the international community to come to Pakistan and do some sort of business activities related to carbon markets over here. So I see a major role of the Green Technology Hub over here in mediating, in fostering the collaborations, and in transferring the knowledges, and in, you can say, sharing the case studies, the successful stories that can bring more investments to the country.
Just to highlight, is one of my additional secretaries here. Zulfikar, do you want to add, on the carbon guidelines and some of the work which has already initiated? Sindh has successfully started a project, so just indicate, please, that. Zulfikar, are you there?
Madam, Sir Kamran Saab is here.
Hasan, please highlight Pakistan's potential and some of the work which Sindh has already done.
Madam Ehsan ke baad phir I'll speak after Ehsan speaks. And I think Madam Romina has also joined. Let's welcome Madam Romina first, maybe.
Ji, please introduce her. Mekaeel.
Assalamu alaikum ji, Ma'am Romina, it's great to have you. Just to kind of introduce Ms. Romina to everyone in the audience, Ms. Romina is currently the coordinator to the Prime Minister of Pakistan on climate change, which essentially means she is the lady in charge of climate for the country. She has been a parliamentarian twice, both in 2013 and 2018, and she is also has the honor of having been the founding chairperson on the parliamentary caucus for climate change. So she's not new into this sphere, and it's great to have her leading the initiatives. And we can. Is it okay if I take the question to her for the Green Tech Hub before closing the chapter, or should we let the additional secretary speak first?
Let's
up to you
welcome
guys.
ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much, madam. Thank you. It's not only me who's taking the lead, it's my team. The credit goes to my team. Thank you so very much for being, for giving such an amazing comment for me. I'm really humbled, but I just wanted to say that it's all a teamwork, and I'm so glad that my team, all from the ministry side, Madam Aisha, Zulfikar Saab, and everyone from the ministry is a great support and strength. So I think together, it's not me, it's not alone. So it's us as a team, which we are looking forward to bring more betterment for the country. Now over to you, madam.
Ma'am Romina, I'll kind of cross the question to you because हमने start इस तरह लिया था कि हम शुरू में बात कर रहे थे green tech के पीछे जो thought process था, and इसके बाद inshallah we'll go into it's COP season, so we'll go into what COP is about for you guys. So my question to you is, I want you to actually make everyone understand the vision behind the Green Tech Hub in essence, like the overarching vision behind it. How do we see this processing for COP29, and then hopefully for the years ahead, because Pakistan में lack of institutional memory or lack of longevity of projects का एक बड़ा issue रहा है. So मैं Green Tech Hub का सोच के बहुत excited जब होता हूँ, तो मैं थोड़ा ये भी सोचता हूँ कि होगा क्या अगले साल या उसके अगले साल. So आप मुझे please vision समझाएं और क्या आप लोग institutional चीजें place करें ताकि चलता रहे.
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो thank you very much for this great idea, and I really want to congratulate Madam Aisha because she's the one who's behind this great idea, and the team, of course, again, because this is something really matters, because जब हम बात करते हैं climate change की बात हम करते हैं, because everybody know the vulnerability side, but I think we should come out from this more vulnerability side now. We need to talk about, because as Pakistanis, we are a very resilient nation who always, like, no matter whatever the challenges are or issues are, we know how to stood up. But when we talk about nowadays about the future of today of Pakistan, I think when everything is on high tech, in fact, so wahan par green hub ki baat karna, I think this is the most important thing, that how we can improve the green economy, how we can bring the world's investment towards Pakistan, not only towards Pakistan, how we can improve the private corporate sector, because I have a strong firm belief कि जो हमारा private corporate sector है, civil society, and no one can stand alone. It's not you, it's not me, it's us. So how we can take in that, and in this way, where we definitely, when we know that we all are talking about the carbon credits, we are talking about the CBAM policy. So now it's the greatest time where we all can engage and utilize our best of the best ideas, how we can bring the corporate sector, private sector along together, and how we can bring the new ideas with the telecom sector, with the other sectors too, and how we can work with each other. So while on this time, जब हम हर चीज IT की बात करते हैं, उसी time पे, जैसे मैंने पहले भी कहा, so I think Green Hub is the thing where not only we are looking forward कि हम सिर्फ इसमें investments या इन चीजों को देख रहे हैं, where we talking about the data as well, कि हमें किस तरह से data को लेके चलना है, किस तरह से हमें हमारा, like, as being a Ministry of Climate Change, I see our role in this Green Hub as a pivotal role, a bridge among the corporate sector and the G sector, like it's not going to be G to G. It's more how government can facilitate B to B as well, how we can bring people from abroad to Pakistan, how we can work with each other, how we can collaborate with each other, and how we can make a great impact on the economy. And Pakistan has no doubt a great potential in the business sector. Pakistan has a great potential in the agriculture sector. So when we're talking about, it comes how we can promote. Suppose if we took an example of agriculture, so when we talk about agriculture, how we can bring the climate smart agriculture towards Pakistan, how we can learn the best practices from each other, how we can enhance or do the capacity building. I don't want to use the word of the capacity building. I believe more in the knowledge sharing, that how we can engage the people and do the knowledge sharing sort of a thing from the other part of the across the globe. Because now I believe when it's the time of a it's a gadget. Moreover, the world is now on the gadget. So how we can engage and learn from each other. So I think it's a great initiative where a lot can be done. And specifically when we are going at the time of the COP, where we are going, because this time COP is also, we are not planning like a same simple type of a thing just for the sake of a COP. No, we are going with different ideas and initiative. And I think this is a great time where this green hub can do lots of things, and this hub can play a great pivotal role. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll kind of, I think, start to go into question number 2 for everyone, which is the COP round. Given, I think this morning, I'll just give you some context of why I'm asking this question. So this morning we had a working group under Justice Jawad and Durham University and HBL, and we were 10 of us talking about how we were going to look at climate justice and climate finance together. And the interesting part of that working group was a bunch of lawyers, bankers, private equity, and members of the judiciary. 10 people coming together and saying, enabling a vision for COP. And the Madam Romina ne kaha, that is very important to me, right? The ministry has to be the bridge. I mean, to have like all the ducks in line. So, and just to connect them all. And that, I feel that, at least to my mind, was a very big problem at COP28, because we were going out to, think of JEF, GCF and all of this. But jab hame log kehte the ki bankable project to dikhaye, so we didn't really have things to showcase to the world, right? And even for the private sector side, there's only one major stall, which was V Electra. This great gentleman, Raza, runs it. It's an e-mobility scooter. And I think ये ग्रीन टेक हब वो चीज है जो उस प्रॉब्लम को फिक्स कर सकती है, जब हम उन लोगों को इज्जत नहीं दे रहे थे जो वो डिजर्व करते थे. और इस रजा की और वी इलेक्ट्रा की तरह के बहुत से इनिशिएटिव्स हैं जिसके साथ मेरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी काम करती है. उनको बस वो स्पेस चाहिए स्प्रिंग अप करने के लिए. तो मैडम आयशा, क्योंकि आपका ब्रेन चाइल्ड है, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ कि व्हाट आर यू डूइंग फॉर COP29 टू फिक्स दिस लैक ऑफ अ ब्रिज, and also to fix the fact that we need to go in with bankable projects to actually attract local private capital.
Gigi, this is extremely important, and the very reason of creating this Green Tech Hub is to showcase Pakistan. We will be in the pavilion. We will be, projecting Pakistan's tech sector, Pakistan's readiness to have investment in the tech for the transition which we need. And this is exactly the role that this hub can provide. Get bankable projects from the private sector, raise private capital, and get investment in Pakistan. Because, we have been working with the development partners, with UN organization, but that is not the way to do the real transformation. We get very small projects, and then there is another 14% charges, and and a lot of time involved. Like Pakistan Recharge is an excellent project, but it took 7 years to materialize. So we just don't have the luxury to wait for 7-8 years or 5 years. So we immediately need to very quickly put our act together. Private sector has the vitality and the knowledge through which we can very quickly get the climate investment which we need to do our transformation. So I hope that this Green Tech Hub will be used properly by the private sector. We want them to actively participate in it, and we can create different streams under this. For example, on the energy transition, on the transport side, we have many very active players in the private sector who are already bringing investment in EV. And then, there is an ICT side of the solution where AI is used not just to, rehabilitate the communities, but also provide solutions to the textile sector. I don't know if Salal has joined. He's doing a lot of good work in that direction. So we will try to create these streams, collect data, and showcase Pakistan as a solution provider, not just to the transition that we want to make, but we should be in a position to export our skills and our capabilities and get and make use of the opportunities which are emerging across the world during this green transition phase.
Thank you, ma'am. I think that it's great to hear your energy, and hopefully, inshallah, this COP will be transformative.
Mekaeel, can I give you a rundown on the carbon landscape of Pakistan, carbon market landscape before you go further?
Please.
Because वो रह गई थी दरम्यान में, Madam Romina joined, so I thought maybe Madam Romina's intervention should take precedence. So Salal has also joined. I can see Salal. So basically, as mentioned, Madam Secretary just mentioned that we have already, almost approved the carbon guidelines. So once the guidelines are approved, then we are working. We have already developed our regulations. So basically, regulations will be the backbone of the whole, our carbon market system. And we also, we also developed our registry to register the credits, and we are now in the final phases of customizing that registry with the help of GCISC. So we will be, hopefully, we are targeting that before COP, we do the registry, we do the whole registry thing completed. And so that's basically where we are at the moment, and we are hopeful. We are already, Ahsan Kamran has joined. He's helping us. We have formed a subcommittee which is dealing with the carbon markets, bankable projects development. So he is also in touch with the provinces, also with the private sector entities. So maybe tech carbon credit projects can also be important and critical, can play important role. So and for the COP29, we already we have formed 5 subcommittees, and one of the subcommittee is dealing with the private sector who are dealing with climate projects, bankable projects. So that committee will present its shortlisted project. Our main focus to present at the COP is to have the projects which are innovative and which have most climate impact. So these are 2 major criteria that we are looking for. So I request all these companies who are present in this webinar, if they have good bankable projects, please do contact us, share it directly with us, and we'll consider taking that project to the COP29 at Pakistan Pavilion, because there we are also inviting investors from other countries, and also development partners like UNDP, GCISC, JEF, GCF. There, all the higher executives, they will be there at the COP. So we would like to invite them also to see Pakistan's innovative projects. So this is briefly what we are doing at the moment for COP and for the carbon markets.
Sir, Assalamu alaikum. If I may add to this is Ahsan over here. So Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Ahsan Kamran ji. Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful ji to Zulfikar Saab and Ma'am Romina and Ma'am Aisha to have allowed me to participate and work with the ministry. I've been doing carbon consulting for the last 15 years in Pakistan. Most of the major projects from CDM days to recently VCS, 4G fertilizer wind, a lot of wind projects I registered and monetized. So Pakistan mein ji, we are seeing a big scope for carbon markets. The ministry has created a very friendly policy, which will be issuing LOAs for Article 6 also and helping VCM also. The ministry is in touch with other buying nations like Singapore and Japan and Korea, which companies can then invest in us when we do Article 6 agreements. The pipeline is great at the moment from renewable energy. We're looking at EV buses, we're looking at solar, a lot of scope in methane projects, landfill projects. Landfill gas methane, is 24 times deadlier than carbon. So 1 ton of methane reduces 24 carbon credits. So there will be a lot of investment opportunities. And then there's a new market called CDR, carbon dioxide removals, जिसके credit और भी महंगे बिकते हैं. तो वो भी हमने ministry के साथ उस पर बात करनी शुरू कर दिया है, from concepts like biochar, which becomes agri-waste fertilizer, to ERW, enhanced rock weathering. ये पत्थर के अंदर जब बारिश होती है तो absorb हो जाती है carbon, and then you grind the rock, and then you can lay it out like fertilizer. So these removal credits make the investments are low, but the returns are very high on it. So we're doing all of this, G, and at COP we will be presenting this whole pipeline. And if anybody needs any more information, we're planning to create a one-window solution at MOCC also for investors to come, get information, discuss their projects, and then there'll be a team at MOCC to expedite them immediately.
Gee, this is extremely important. I want to highlight that we are ready to facilitate exactly this one window facility, and the objective of creating this green tech hub is that under this we are ready to work with all types of technologies, whether dealing with innovative solar solutions or EV solutions or ICT solutions. We gather all the data, receive bankable documents, and create partnerships. So that is exactly the objective, and make sure that we get investments from abroad. And we also want the private sector to identify that if the kind of some technology which we require, which we do not have at the moment, so government has the capability to negotiate and talk to the relevant government and get all those technologies that we don't have access to right now.
And also, Salal is also helping us to basically attract more IT-based tech entrepreneurs and companies. So may I request Salal to kindly chip in and just share what we have done so far, and about Ahya as well, and your AI-based software that you have for carbon emission. Please go ahead, Salal.
Ji, assalamualaikum everyone, and thank you Zulfikar Saab and Madam Aisha. And thank you. Great to see so many familiar people here in Essen and Mekaeel, and to see the vision and the impetus and zeal from the ministry behind an institutional void and something that can be revolutionary for Pakistan. What we're doing at Ahya Ji is that we're a climate software artificial intelligence business. So हम हमारी private sector enterprises के साथ काम कर रहे हैं with helping them measure, analyze, reduce, and report their emissions in line with global sustainability standards. So as you know, Pakistan has been the second highest growing country globally since 2020 when it comes to our science-based targets initiative commitments. And our private sector there's some great examples in Interloop, which is scope 3 net zero. So we have an HPL as well, which is committed to scope 3 net zero. But there we face critical challenges when it comes to measuring the emissions. And that's something that Ahya is doing. And working with a lot of ecosystem partners there. And the second thing is overcoming the access limitations for enabling climate finance coming into Pakistan. And working together with Essen and the ministry, what we intend to do is to build a platform, a digital platform, both for the measurement, reporting, and verification of Pakistan's projects, but then also helping them access climate finance in the country. And I think there's numerous great projects, some that obviously Mekaeel has pointed out to, but a lot of good initiatives which the UK government's doing with the Climate Finance Accelerator, and a lot of other good initiatives happening in the country. At Ahya, we're also pleased to be nominated as Pakistan's first Earthshot Prize nominee. And we're glad to support the Green Tech Hub and glad to participate therein. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. At Pehle to, Salal, Essen, and Zulfikar Saab, I would just say it's great to hear positive news for a change. And, I've been following what you guys are doing, especially Salal. So 100%, I think this is the kind of positive propaganda we need going into COP. And I think that one thing that I felt missing in the last few COPs of Pakistan is कि हमने ground नहीं ले किया होता positive energy के लिए, not just within ourselves, but to the larger international audience. Or अक्सर, I hope this is not the case, कि हम इस्लामाबाद से सारे उठ के जाते हैं दुबई या कहीं और हम वही काम करने लग जाते हैं. It is the job at COP is not to engage with ourselves, it is to engage with everyone else we don't know right now. And I think these are the kind of stories that we need to tell, right? And we have great storytellers within us as well. So, so happy to hear what everyone's doing, and, happy to help in any way as well. I'll divert back to Arif Saab again and, talk a little about the carbon market work that's happening. I think I've been a part of the negotiations for Pakistan, and I've seen how sometimes I feel there is a disconnect between the research and the person representing Pakistan, just because of a lack of technical understanding of the subject matter, and just because there's so many streams now, right? And just Kamran's mentioned, there's Article 6 आपसे कि आप अपनी कार्बन मार्केट फ्रेमवर्क पे जो काम कर रहे हैं एसएन के साथ और जुल्फिकार साहब के साथ, उसको आप नेगोशिएशंस की जो हमारे नेगोशिएटर्स होंगे उसमें वो नॉलेज बिल्ड कैसे करेंगे और उनका क्या मौक़िफ़ होगा. आई डोंट जस्ट मीन बाय सेलिंग कार्बन क्रेडिट्स बिकॉज़ दैट्स नॉट व्हाट्स गोइंग टू हैपन इन नेगोशिएशन स्ट्रीम, बट अदर देन आस्किंग फॉर ग्रांट फाइनेंसिंग व्हिच इज समथिंग दैट वी हैव बीन डूइंग हिस्टोरिकली, व्हाट इज आवर विजन गोइंग इनटू कॉप विद with relevance to carbon?
Thank you. Thank you very much again, Mekaeel. A very good question. There is a great disconnect, I will say, between research policy and practice. At the national level, if we look, we must realize that these two things are working prior to present moment, were working in isolation. GCASC have been involved in developing the greenhouse gas inventories and submitting it for the sake of submissions as international commitments in terms of national communications, NDCs, and national adaptation plans like that. But we have never been in the past into that area of translating these greenhouse gas inventory sort of things into carbon markets sort of things. It is the basic reason was that there was no carbon market policy framework at that time, that was not existing. But since now this carbon market policy guidelines are here, so we are trying to develop these greenhouse gas initiatives into carbon credit sort of things. The idea of MRV that Salal just talked about, we have already developed it at GCASC, that is called as risk test platform. This platform takes into account the country's mitigation efforts as well as adaptation efforts. And the third key component is the FTC financial technology and capacity. So this is another thing. This risk platform is going to be linked with the climate finance investment tracker that is also housed presently at GCISC. So these two things plus the carbon registry. So this will make it as a total digitization hub for Ministry of Climate Change, wherein we can think of one window operation or one window sort of facilities that Madam Secretary just talked about. Now linking this research with the climate change negotiations. Negotiations on Article 6 after the CDM are still in the pipeline. I mean, not much concrete decisions are there before us, though the carbon market internationally, globally is operating, but the concrete decisions are still lacking. So what we are trying to do in this COP is that we are linking the research-based targets of carbon credits to the Article 6.2 and Article 6.4 negotiations that are going on. We are very much into this. And we are hopeful that we will be able to, during the COP, try to actively negotiate on a sort of decision wherein the countries can have better facilities and better opportunities to have selling of their carbon credits with government to government and other market mechanisms, which is presently lacking. But let's see. It's just an evolving. I don't want to escalate much hopes from this COP on the carbon market decision. But still, there are many things to work on and there are many things to discuss. And Pakistan will be having a key role in this negotiation process. Thank you.
I just
Thank
want
you,
to
Ash.
highlight that there are one or two things. For example, they are talking about central registry, which could be very cumbersome. And, obviously our priority will be for national registry, and that need recognition of it, as the final authority. And then they are also talking about a process of revocation, even once the transaction is settled and approved by Vera and gold standards, which are not easy to meet. So that is something which we will definitely challenge, because we don't want another GCF type fund created, which is very difficult to access. So I think a lot of developing countries will protest, and all of them would like to make sure that processes which are adopted are, friendly to developing countries.
वैसे for the audience, I just want to say that COP is also a very complicated ecosystem because हमारी तरफ से भी multiple ministries involved होती हैं, finance, climate change के साथ होती है, PND होता है, foreign affairs होता है, और बहुत से because regional collaborations होती हैं, तो एक छोटी सी बात है जैसे small island states होती हैं, वो हैं तो शायद लाहौर की तहसील से भी छोटे, but they have one vote, right? So for Pakistan, it is a big challenge to kind of put everything together. I know, Ms. Romina, sorry, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Once again, I just wanted to bring in your, as already Madam and Zulfikar Saab and Goheer Saab, everybody have put a great light. This time we are trying to bring those elements in the COP. Like, it's for me, honestly, like if somebody asks me, okay, what's my vision? Obviously, I have to think, and we have to go in a larger vision of the country, for the better for the country. But for me, it's more important to bring this thing in the knowledge of the other world as well, of the other countries as well, that we are the ones who are facing all the challenges. And when it comes to the V20 countries, Pakistan, I wanted to really bring in your, for all of people who are sitting here, in their knowledge, that it's not that Pakistan is going to ask something for ourselves. It is going to be a collaborative effort where we are talking, because recently we had a seminar, a regional seminar, on which we got, Islamabad Declaration. It's with 30 countries, and unanimously it's been passed. And that, we are talking about the gender as well. We are talking about the economy as well. And not only that it's very much important for the developing countries. And then, we cannot mix apples with the oranges. Every time what happened in the different COPs is so far, because being a part of several COPs, that it's always, everyone is just, it's sort of a Panadol tablet to give for every disease, give Panadol for everything. So we don't want to do this. And this time, Alhamdulillah, I feel so blessed that it's not only the Ministry of the Climate Change. Along with other ministries, we are just trying to bring everyone on board, not only the ministry, government level, the executive side, from the private sector, from the corporate sector, and specifically, along with my team, we are trying to focus more on the negotiation side, and how we can talk more about the regional solutions. Because when we talk about the issues and challenges, we all know the Asia region is the most vulnerable region, because most of the V20 countries are from this region. So, this is something also very much important that we need. And then, as you've mentioned that Justice Jawad, about him and about his group, I'm part of that group as well, the WhatsApp group they are having. So I'm so glad, and I really want to share with you that along it's all efforts of our team, that this time the judiciary is going to be the part of the pavilion, because of course they are the biggest, strongest pillar of the country, so of the state. So what we are doing, that we are going over there, and we are planning for have a like in the conference of the Supreme Court, which they hold for the climate change. In that as well, I've given this idea that we need to have an international caucus for the climate justice for the vulnerable countries. So this time we are planning to do that as well. And when it comes to the carbon policy, and also I also wanted to bring this thing in your knowledge, that we are planning to have a proper mechanism in which we should engage. We are going to engage more to the sector wise, like textile sector, cement sector, telecom sector, any sort of a sectors. They need to know, understand, because these policies, when it come internationally, because you know the developed countries पहले वो खुद तमाशा बना लेते हैं, सब कुछ कर लेते हैं, और फिर जब उनको होश आती है तो फिर उनको developing countries पे they try to put the pressure on them. So you know this sort of a things as well, how we gonna manage and how we can tackle that. Is for that we had the subcommittees. I'm glad that Zulfikar Sab told, and SN is also here, and other partners are here. So I think this is something very important. And please, I would request from this all members who are here that I don't say that I'm right or we are perfect. No one is perfect. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn from every one from you, because Alhamdulillah, as I'm going through with the list of the participants, everyone is very, very much talented, learned. So I want this all combination to give up some crux, a very solid crux, where we can represent our country and we can get the best of the best. It's not that in the COP we are going to ask something to give us. No, it's moreover for me, it's moreover to talk about the climate diplomacy, to talk about the solutions, to come out from the vulnerability side. I don't want to see Pakistan asking, and in my different international conferences, like in IPU or in Pakistan, I hosted, and in that as well, I said, and I hammered again and again, that Pakistan don't want aid, we want trade. So for that, not only for Pakistan, for other countries as well. So I think that is something very much important, which we are looking forward. Thank you. I'm sorry for little getting emotional, but yeah, that's something which little bit in me. So I think together we can get the strength.
मैम, हमें इमोशन की ही जरूरत है, यही हम मिस करते हैं क्लाइमेट चेंज नहीं पूरे मुल्क में. अगर इमोशन होता तो हम यहाँ ना खड़े होते आज. It's so great to see passion and energy, and I'm so great that like happy to see that you're also extremely humble about that group. And honestly, knowing a lot of these people individually, they're extremely talented and as passionate as you about making a change for the country. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask Ms. Romina one last question, and then I'm going to move towards the audience, because भरी हुई है मेरे से with very solid सवाल. So I'll just do Ma'am Romina's question and then move to the audience. Ma'am Romina, मैंने बस I think बहुत अच्छी बात है कि हम इंटरनेशनल स्टेज पे जाके अपने आप को पोर्ट्रे करना है फॉर इंटरनेशनल कैपिटल. There's one thing I've learned in banking in my years is that capital only capital until unless your local capital is the barrier, the hindrance for international capital will not go away, especially.
I'm sorry,
is it clearer now?
Yeah, little better, but it's just, I don't know, there's a break in the line. G.
Sorry, it's probably the internet.
Yeah.
I was just saying कि थोड़ा सा चलिए मैं कंसाइज करता हूँ सवाल को. मैं बस पूछना चाह रहा था कि हमारी क्या स्ट्रैटेजी है लोकल कैपिटल को एंगेज करने के लिए, क्योंकि लोकल कैपिटल के बगैर इंटरनेशनल कैपिटल फ्लाइट नहीं लेता. हम क्या वो डी रिस्किंग स्ट्रेटजीज दे रहे हैं या इंसेंटिवाइजिंग स्ट्रेटजीज दे रहे हैं, because 90% of Pakistan's capital is within the state culture, even when you look at the stock exchange, right? तो जब तक सेट्स आपको समझ नहीं आएगी ना कि ये ठीक है, तब तक वो अपने इंटरनेशनल दोस्त को नहीं समझा सकते. तो हमने इस चीज को कैसे आगे लेके चलना है?
देखिए, एक तो जैसे आप बात कर रहे थे पहले भी, आई वाज लिसनिंग कि आपने बात की अबाउट द बैंकेबल प्रोजेक्ट्स. तो अभी आई जस्ट वांटेड टू ब्रिंग इन योर नॉलेज दैट जुल्फकार साहब, मैडम आयशा, एंड वी ऑल आर वर्किंग टुगेदर टू ब्रिंग दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ अ ऑलमोस्ट लाइक हमारी कुछ लोगों के साथ, जैसे कुछ पार्टनर्स हमारे जो डेवलपमेंट पार्टनर्स हैं उनके साथ भी बात हुई, बिकॉज यू नो फेडरेशन में एमओसीसी का पार्ट है कोऑर्डिनेशन का, कोऑर्डिनेशन विद द प्रोविंसेस, कोऑर्डिनेशन विद द एजेके एंड जीबी एज वेल, एंड देन इंटरनेशनली हमने उसको किस तरह से देखना है. सो उसके लिए वी आर लाइक डेफिनेटली इंसेंटिवाइज. जब तक हम चीज़ों को नहीं करेंगे चीज़ें प्रॉब्लमैटिक उसी तरह से होंगी. फॉर दैट वी आर वर्किंग on different sort of aspects, चाहे वो even के EV policy क्यों ना हो, EV vehicles क्यों ना हो, micro, we are talking about the microfinance projects, we are like अखवत का model जो है उस पे फिर उसके बाद we are talking about the climate insurances, we are talking about how to engage the rural woman. And not only that, the most important thing for me कि जब disasters आते हैं या climate change का जो impact है वो सबसे ज्यादा किसको आता है, औरत को आता है, बच्चियों को आता है, so how we can manage them, how we can utilize them, how we can engage them, how we can make them more resourceable. जहां पर देखें, we of course we all know that the Benazir income support program is something which is very good, but then we can design more projects which are, because I believe not to give a fish to a person, I believe moreover to tell them how to catch a fish. And when we talk, I'm so glad for this question, because this is something which is very much important, and we are focusing a lot on that. जिसके अंदर हमारी कोशिश ये है कि जो रूरल औरत है, जो स्पेसिफिकली जहाँ पे डिजास्टर है, उन खवातीन को हम किस तरह गैजेट फ्रेंडली, बिकॉज अब तो मुश्किल नहीं है, आप देखते हैं जो टिकटॉक का मॉडल है उस पर पता चलता है कि झाड़ू लगा रहा है कोई, कचरा डाल रहा है कोई, उस पर भी मिलियंस होते हैं. पीपल नो हाउ टू एंगेज विद दीज गैजेट्स. सो हाउ वी कैन engage them, how we can make them more skilled, जिसमें वो इस चीज को लेके आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, अपनी ग्रोथ को कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं. बल्कि मैं आपको यहाँ पे बताती चलूं कि जो कॉप है उसके अंदर हमारा एक जो प्रोजेक्ट है जिसको हम लॉन्च करने जा रहे हैं, which is going to call gender equity seal project, because वो है खातून इकोनॉमी, ग्रीन इकोनॉमी के ऊपर, लाइक जेंडर. और उसके बाद आप देखें जो एक सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है जिसको हम लोग, जब हम लॉस एंड डैमेज की, इनफैक्ट आप सब लोग माशाल्लाह लर्नर्ड यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं, एक जो सबसे बड़ी हम बात करते हैं स्किल्स की बात करते हैं, हम ये बात करते हैं कि जी लॉस एंड डैमेज की बात करते हैं कि इतना लॉस हो गया, लेकिन एक लॉस जो हम बिल्कुल ध्यान में नहीं रखते वो ये है कि वो लॉस जो मेंटली लॉस, हम मेंटल लॉस एक आता है, मेंटल टॉर्चर आता है, मेंटल हेल्थ की बात होती है कि वो कितना लोग ड्रेन करते हैं. आप देखें एक बंदा जिसका रात को घर था और सुबह वो उठता है तो उसको पता चलता है उसके सर पे छत ही नहीं है. So that trauma that they gone through and the impact of the person, that is also something very important. So these sort of projects which we are bringing, which we are working very much actively, and it's a great help and support, which I really want to say कि मैडम आयशा के आने से मिनिस्ट्री के अंदर एक जो पहले भी हम लोग सब मिलके काम कर रहे थे, but we all know that the secretary is something which is a main drive. So उसपे हम लोगों ने कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स जो हैं उनको लेके भी आए, जिसमें ग्लोबल शील्ड का एक प्रोजेक्ट है जो कि डिस्कार्ड हो गया था पाकिस्तान, उसमें से वी ब्रॉट इट बैक. दैट क्रेडिट गोज टू जुल्फकार साहब अ लॉट, क्योंकि उन्होंने जिस तरह से मिलके हम लोगों ने उस पे काम किया, बाकी भी जो हमारे कोलीग्स हैं. लेकिन दीज आर द थिंग्स व्हिच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो एक एक चीज के ऊपर, जैसे गोहीर साहब हैं, ही इज वर्किंग ऑन एनडीसी. सो एवरीवन फ्रॉम द मिनिस्ट्रियल साइड, आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट if someday, if possible, to madam, that if we can arrange that, where we can show the graph and tell that what we are doing right now, where we are standing in this short span of time, what we have, like Recharge Pakistan, how we can utilize the floods water. That is also something which is very great, and it's one of the first biggest program. And that time I was a parliamentary secretary in the ministry when I took the stand, and alhamdulillah, with this time, with the efforts of the ministry team, we got the success in it. So these sort of things which we are doing, I wish I could tell you in the numbers in the small, but I'm bad in numbers. Madam and Zulfikar Saab is too good, or Mazhar Saab and all. So I'm very bad in maths. I know how to work, but in numbers, I'm little bit bad. So I don't want to give the wrong numbers, ताकि पता चले मुझे क्लास में डांट ना पड़ जाए. इसलिए मैं अच्छे बच्चों की तरह कोशिश करूंगी कि numbers की बात जो है वो जुल्फकार साहब और मैडम के ऊपर छोड़ती हूँ. So I think I tried my level best to answer your question. और इसमें moreover we are trying to engage जितना भी हो सकता है bankable projects की तरफ हम जा रहे हैं. हमारी कोशिश ये है कि जहां पर भी हमें कहीं पे भी कोई कनेक्शन मिलता है जिसको हमें strongly hold करना है. और मैंने जैसे पहले भी कहा कि स्कॉप में हमारी सबसे ज्यादा जो कोशिश है वो यही होगी कि टू टेल द वर्ल्ड that where we have a success stories, we can show the world that what we can do, and we have that all capacity to do those things. So that is we need to bring, and nothing is impossible. Thank you.
Great. Two things that I just want to say for logistics. एक तो बहुत kindly ministry ने एक email address छोड़ दिया है, a31@mocc.gov.pk, because we had a lot of people asking with great ideas we want to get in touch. So I think use this opportunity not sure whose email that is specifically. I'm sure Ali can talk more about that. But इसमें बहुत से लोग messages कर रहे हैं of wanting to help, and I think that's the positive energy that exists in Pakistan, right? You guys are here on a Sunday night. आप लोगों का सुबह Monday को ministry में काम होगा, so I think this is a great opportunity for these people to kind of interconnect and take it from there. I'll start asking some of the questions that are in the group. Probably 4 or 5 जितना टाइम होगा, फिर इंशाल्लाह देखते हैं क्या कर सकते हैं. मैम आयशा, मैं आपकी तरफ आऊंगा इसके लिए. एक क्वेश्चन है about favorable.
My email is secretary@mocc.gov.pk. तो वो भी आप, you can share that as well. Anyone can write to me directly as well.
Ali, can you manage
just
for the
1
group?
second.
Or I don't know,
Ali,
drop a
I think,
message later.
Ali from JS Bank. I'm sorry to interrupt. मैं अभी उनके question पढ़ रही थी और suggestion भी. So I just wanted to tell Ali that me and Zulfikar Saab are already in touch with JS Bank. So we have already engaged. Zulfikar Saab इस पे जरूर अगर आप कुछ थोड़ा सा बता सके तो उनको बताइएगा, क्योंकि वो काफी कुछ they've discussed. So I just wanted to request lastly. So I just want कि उनको जरूर सबको पता चले कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं.
जी मैम, क्विकली बस JS बैंक जैसे कि शायद most of people might be knowing that is one of our GCF accredited entity as well, and we are doing a lot of projects with JS Bank. One was of solar, solarization, which was approved by GCF and it's now going into operation. Besides that, with JS Bank, we have also spoken about how to, start smart, small green loans. So maybe in collaboration with Akhuat or some other microfinance institution, that is also going on. So hopefully, I think that is something which will revolutionize our green climate small projects. So this is at the moment what we are doing.
And just to give audience an idea that almost $470 million projects from Pakistan are already approved, and they have started in collaboration with GCF and JEF. And almost $1.5 billion projects are in the pipeline. Bankable documents. I mean, obviously it takes a lot of time, but these around $450 million projects have started in the last 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, there was a long process, gestation period and all that, but these are all now operational.
I think because बहुत ज़्यादा questions हैं, मैं ज़रा questions को concise करके जल्दी से रखूँगा, and I would request the members to quickly apply. And जुल्फकार साहब, I think उनके लिए भी कुछ relevant चीजें हैं, तो अगर वो भी जब apply कर सकें तो बड़ा request होगी. Whoever wants to answer, please do. He's asking there has to be an entry कैसे आगे लेके चलना है. So I think उसको मैं खुद ही offer कर दिया कि आप लोग at the ministry possibly राउंड टेबल को देख सकते हैं कि हम करा सकें जहाँ पे प्राइवेट सेक्टर और आप लोग एंगेज कर सकें. डू यू थिंक दैट्स अ पॉसिबिलिटी?
जी डेफिनेटली वी कैन अरेंज अ राउंड टेबल, डेफिनेटली. इसको हम वी कैन वर्क आउट, और वी वुड लव टू इंटरेक्ट विद द प्राइवेट सेक्टर. एक तो अभी हम एक सेशन कर रहे हैं ऑन क्लाइमेट इन्वेस्टमेंट पॉलिसी. उसके ऊपर भी we can have participation from the private sector, but we can have a separate just green tech roundtable conference, maybe in the mid October somewhere. इसको देख लें जुल्फिकार, let's plan it.
जी ठीक है मैम. एक तो हमने प्री कॉप एक कंसल्टेटिव प्रोसेस करना है, कंसल्टेशंस करनी है, तो मे बी हम सेपरेटली ग्रीन टेक के साथ प्री कॉप एक कंसल्टेशन वी कैन अरेंज दैट सेशन आल्सो समवेयर मिड अक्टूबर.
जी
मिकाइल, आपकी आवाज थोड़ी दरमियान में इज ब्रेकिंग अप.
अगला क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा है जी अराउंड कार्बन मार्केट्स की जो पॉलिसी. ओके, एक सेकंड. Is it better now? I'll use another device.
G, now better.
एक कार्बन मार्केट्स का क्वेश्चन है जी, उस पे बस ये है कि हमारे do we have a policy, do we have a timeline in place for the policy becoming a public document and the implementation strategy of it?
जी
I think
उसमें
यार
basically
relevant होगा सबसे ज्यादा.
जी उसमें नहीं, I'll just share the update. हमारी Pakistan Climate Change Council है, so we actually have 2 meetings of Climate Change Council where this policy was, we drafted it 2023. It was presented in 23, and then council asked us to review it with the provinces again, and they have formed an expert committee. उसने फिर review किया, and we have in April 2024 another meeting of the council where it was again presented, and largely it was agreed. Council agreed, but few points like corresponding adjustment fee, administrative costs, and a couple of more issues. They were, provinces has some concerns. So we have another committee, which was law minister headed that committee, and that committee again then consulted provinces. And now that consultation has also been almost, at the end, we have agreed on where we have to go. And hopefully we are hoping that in next 3 weeks time, we will be able to get the approval from the council. And now we would like that maybe if Prime Minister agrees, we would like that maybe we have this policy approved from the council through circulation to save the time, because we are in greater hurry than the market, because we want that we launch this policy at the COP29, and as I just mentioned that we also have a one of the carbon market group, carbon finance group in the COP preparation teams, which is exclusively working on this. So we would like that maybe we have this our registry ready, MRV system is ready. So maybe we present a holistic Pakistan's carbon market framework there, and our regulations are also ready. Spark 6 and USAID has helped us in drafting those rules for detailed, and it applies for both VCM and also compliance markets. So both markets are covered in that. So we are aiming that before COP we will be able to finish this whole carbon finance, carbon market framework and present it COP29.
Thank you. Just the last 2 questions before we try to close. A question aa raha hai ji कि we have some of these private sector entities work with the number of bankable projects or startups, and what is the best way to kind of put them towards an international audience? I think आप लोग वो bridge का जो बात हो रही है to act as a bridge, वो आप कैसे देखते हैं कि लोग कैसे आपके पास आए उस one window जो आप लोग कह रहे हैं कि future में build out हो जाएगी?
उसमें भी बेसिकली एक तो आपको अपने ईमेल एड्रेस दे दिए मैडम का और मेरा, तो आप काइंडली इफ यू कैन जस्ट सेंड 1 पेजर कॉन्सेप्ट नोट. उसमें 2 चीजें एम्फसाइज वी वुड लाइक. वन इज हाउ व्हाट इज द इनोवेशन इन दिस होल bankable project, and the other is how climate impact it, how much climate impact it has. So these are 2 key determinants to finalize a project. So if you can just highlight those 2 aspects of that bankable project. We are also starting in the ministry private sector financing window. So we are engaging a technical assistance. He was working with all the with major banks earlier to have green project financing. So he will be housed in ministry. So we would also like to attract, once we have these bankable projects, to contact the industry and investors directly. So you can just share with us the project details, and then maybe we get back and take that from there.
Thank you. I think that's great. I think that's great that the ministry is so open to new ideas. Last question before we close, inshallah, to either Ms. Romina or Madam Aisha. Climate diplomacy का एक question है, क्या strategy है in terms of synergizing all our diplomatic efforts, not just at COP, and pre-COP is a very big thing. तो बस थोड़ा सा climate diplomacy पे guide कर दें audience को.
Okay. When you talk about the climate diplomacy, देखिए climate diplomacy, we need to engage because it's too much ना. हम already बहुत बात कर चुके हैं, बहुत सालों से बात हो रही है, हम vulnerable हैं, लेकिन it's more important कि हम अगर vulnerable हैं तो हम अपने लिए क्या कर रहे हैं, where we gonna stand, and for that I think Pakistan can take a great position to lead this cause, where we can engage other countries along as well as a strength of each other, where we can stand for each other, where we can talk for each other, and where I think we are now in the phase to take our right. It's not that, only the sanction sort of a thing where we can all stand and talk about, क्योंकि वो वक्त ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है, क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पर एक एग्जांपल देती होती हूँ, जो कि अच्छी एग्जांपल तो खैर नहीं मुझे लगता, लेकिन as being a climate activist, because I worked a lot on the SDGs previously, I was the convener for the SDGs task force in the parliament, and we got from UN, we got the registered Pakistan SDG Secretariat of Parliament, which is a great pride. You know what I've believed that it's my firm belief that it's how you want to take the people along, how you want to communicate with the people. Are you want to make your hand like this, or you want to say that, listen, talk to us, be with us, sit with us, have dialogues, have discussion. This is something which is very much important, and it's not always to listen. It's now time to talk. It's now time to say what we want, say for our country that, this is no more, can't we do. We need to go, and we are in that phase. We are trying to engage. Like, I meet more because the technical sides, of course, my whole team, Madam Secretary, and under her leadership, everybody is on one page, and where we are looking at how not only, and I really wanted to share with you that Zulfikar Saab and I, we got a success to get Pakistan on the friends position with the Canada, because Mr. Trudeau had make a group of countries where, it's all about the climate, where they are discussing. So Pakistan somehow got the success. Same goes, Pakistan got a success in Triple GI. Pakistan got a success in, Global Shield project and others too. Why? How? It's all because of the climate diplomacy, where we have opened up our doors, where we come up and discussing with the people, not in the vulnerable position. Like, I just don't want to take the name of that specific institution or a country. Me and Zulfikar Saab and one of our another officer, we were in the meeting, and they were not taking us little serious. They were like treating us like, okay, that Pakistan is like, and then I spoke to them in a tone that, listen, we are not beggars. Okay, we know what to do, we know how to work, and we know how to get the things done. So within 2 minutes, their tone was fine, and they were ready to sit with us and to work. And then I said, like, okay, we know when we're going to talk. So this is the diplomacy, where diplomatically, I believe, in my humble opinion, rest Madam can put light on it, that what other things which we are doing. But this is something from my humble knowledge, because I truly believe in international relations, but I believe more that we need to pitch right things. Like, we are working with the Africa region, very much closely with the Africa region, because for me, it's not the Africa region. It's it's more than a region. It's, if I need lobbying, if I need negotiation, if I need the votes, how many votes from a region I'm going to get. Same goes with the Asia region. So, we need to think in a diplomatic way, that how we can engage. And then the Foreign Office, I would really like to appreciate MOFA, that they are helping and supporting us a lot. And without the help of right now the two ministers, I really want to acknowledge them. The two most senior ministers of ours, they are, of course, a great guidance to us, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for the Planning. They both are, the way they are supporting us, the way they are being with us, like Madam and I have requested them that we are looking forward to have their presence more in the COP, because because that is going to bring a lot of impact, where we can, because mostly people think that, okay, 2-3 days are enough and go. But actually, in the end, we need more that the diplomacy thing, and more, the strength of and that. And now I'm so glad that this great idea of the Green Hub people, I believe that all of you who are sitting over here, all of you giving the great positive input. And I would love to accept, to take the critiques as well from your side, but that guidance can take us towards the great lead. So this is sort of the things which we are doing. And rest, if Madam or Zulfikar Sahab wanted to say something, they can put more technical maybe light or a few things which they can add.
Ma'am, you have highlighted everything. And I just want to mention that, we negotiate along with Asia Pacific and G77 group and like-minded countries group. And as ma'am highlighted, the African region group. So obviously developing countries have a lot of common issues where we collectively negotiate. But at the same time, it's also important that we know our red lines. So when we prepare our negotiation strategy, we interact with all the ministries, and we look at the future growth possibilities for Pakistan. And we also, while we are very serious about the actions that we have to take, we also have to ensure that the growth that we still have to make, we retain our space for that. So it's part of our negotiation strategy that we create a balance in terms of indicating the seriousness for taking action on climate-related issues and making sure that we are reducing our emissions. But at the same time, the space which we require for our development is also maintained, because we have seen that some of the developed countries are going back and have started using those materials which they are asking us to stop using. So it's not easy to negotiate there and then maintain a firm stance. You do feel a lot of pressures coming from the developed countries, some of the countries who are very friendly, but with the help of ma'am coordinator, and as she indicated, our political leadership, we will try our best to protect Pakistan's interest, but at the same time indicate Pakistan's seriousness to take action on these things. We will highlight the work that we have already done, because we are facing the brunt. We cannot afford the world to move away from the targets which are set by UNFCCC. So we do want these things to be taken seriously by the world. And the very objective of creating this green tech hub is to also take advantage of the entrepreneurial side of the climate change and make our private sector ready to work with us on this green transition in Pakistan as well as outside Pakistan.
Thank you, ma'am Romina. Thank you, ma'am Aisha. I think given that we're 10 minutes over and we've had such a positive, energetic discussion, I'd possibly like to close the discussion now. Arif Saab, thank you to you as well for being here. And I think Zulfikar Saab gave a lot of very positive comments. So did Essen. Ali Fahad, so grateful that you keep this energy, keep going every day. I don't know how you do it, especially with your California time zone, but kudos to you and your energy and the people like you who keep doing this for Pakistan. So unless anyone has any last comments, I'd like to close, and I'm extremely grateful for everyone who joined.
From the behalf of the ministry, I just wanted to say thank you so very much, especially the people from the international diaspora. I really wanted to say hats off to you. May God bless you more abundantly. And please feel free to reach to us. And we are very much open for any sort of an ideas, critics, and for the support as well. And one thing which I really want to make you all proud that, me, madam, and all the ministry, along when it comes to the donors, we have changed the mentality of them, because they're of and they're, the way they used to think for us, that mostly people think कि बस सरकारी लोग जो हैं उनको टिकटें चाहिए, उनको ये चाहिए, इस तरह की things. But we change in a way that we just said that we want to work along, and that is the reason now, alhamdulillah, that much more, a good number of donors and the partners they are more towards to Pakistan, and in which we are asking them to make the country more technical, in a good and better position. So that, and on that, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody. Thank you so very much for reaching out, and thanks, Madam, for bringing this great idea, innovative idea, where we all get together and came across to know about each other. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, especially Fahad, for taking the initiative on my request.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
everyone.
Thanks all for
I
joining.
think we'll be
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
Ji.
much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.